Hello and welcome to week 1 of Faster Way to Fat Loss. We have just completed prep week. You all did a great job with your intermittent fasting and with your whole food nutrition. You all really took that, you ran with it, you nailed that down, and now we're moving on, continuing that momentum into week 1. And the theme of week 1 is going to be macronutrients. And this is the week where you will start logging your food into MyFitnessPal. So on Tuesday, I'm going to have a link that will give you more details on actually the app of MyFitnessPal and getting started on that app. Then I will have you submit to me a screenshot of your goals that you set in your MyFitnessPal app. That would be the goals that include your weight loss goals, your activity level, and then I would like to also see your carb, your macronutrients, calorie, carb, fat, protein goals for what MyFitnessPal has set for you. And I'll show you more specifically how that goes and how we'll do that. But just be ready that this is the week that we're going to start logging our food. So, what are macros? That word, you hear it a lot, and some people may not even really know what it is. I didn't know. I wasn't that familiar when I started this program. So, macronutrients simply are the nutrients that are found in large amounts in our body and are needed in our body in large quantities. Micronutrients are found in smaller amounts and are needed in smaller amounts. So, the big 3 macronutrients that we focus on are carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. The micronutrients are more the vitamins and minerals and fiber, and we don't as much talk about that as we do the big 3, carbs, fats, and proteins, and those we refer to as our macros. So in your MyFitnessPal, those are the big 3 that I'm going to be looking at when I'm looking at the screenshot of your food log and what your daily macros are. So we have probably over the years thought that carbs are even something bad. The public, the fitness world, everyone has sort of demonized carbs when in fact carbs are needed in our body and we do need a lot of carbs. Carbs are our main fuel source. They are the main source of energy. They balance hormones. So for women in particular, carbs are very important. And many of you may have tried a keto or a low carb lifestyle. You have maybe even come to this program from that type of lifestyle. So this will be different for you because part of our week, we eat a lot of carbs. We have very high carb days. We also have some low carb days, as you will learn as we continue in this program. But the carbs are something that you need and something that in this program we will find will be your friend. They are going to keep you full. They're going to help you power you through the workouts that we do, and they will become very important. These are foods like, and when I talk about carbs, I'm not talking about junky carbs. There's a difference. We're talking about healthy carbs. So I'm speaking of fruits and vegetables and rice and sweet potatoes and quinoa and oats. Things like that are the healthy carbs. I'm not speaking of pop and candy bars and potato chips. Those are the not healthy carbs. So we're focusing on those healthy carbs and we will eat those in big quantities. You will not be depriving yourself of carbs over the long haul, although we do have a couple low carb days that we'll talk about later. But really, any lifestyle that's going to tell you that fruit is bad and you should not eat fruit, you need to think about that because these are the types of foods that God intended for us to have and consume. So that's the kind of whole food carbs we're looking at. Also, your body transitions carbs to glucose, which is stored in your muscles as glycogen, and that is what we use for fuel. Now that is going to come into play when we talk about our low carb days and we talk about once our body has burned through that glycogen and we're now dipping into those fat stores. So as we build up the carbs in our body and we burn through that glycogen, then we dip into those fat stores on our low carb days. That will be a topic for carb cycling, which is coming up later. We won't talk about that in too much detail today. Also, along with carbs that we need in big quantities, we need fat in big quantities. And that's another word that has been a big no-no. And just think about all the food that is marketed as low fat. Well, our body, again, needs fats. We're talking about the healthy fats. We'll refer to that as fit fats. And there are many, many healthy fats that we suggest that you consume. Fit fats are found in avocados, in nuts of all sorts, pecans, almonds, cashews. All those are healthy, fit fats. Also, in some of your oils that are healthier for you, like coconut oil and olive oil, which we will talk about those being better choices than vegetable oil and canola oil and those type of oils. You want to look for more of the coconut oil and the avocado oil to do your cooking. But those are great fit fats that help bring that number up. Also, your almond butters and your nut butters are good choices to bring that fit fat number up. Again, looking at more of the natural, not as processed. So if you're looking at peanut butter, you're probably not going to look at the same peanut butter you ate as a little kid. You're going to look for more of that natural. I like for the almond butter, it's the Maranatha brand. It's at Kroger. But we're looking at more of the naturally found nut butters and not just the old school, say, Jif that's got lots of processed things. If you look at the label, we're looking at very basic labels like peanuts and maybe one other thing. And then protein is our other macronutrient that we need to consume plenty of, because the protein is where consuming enough protein is going to help you see that body composition change, see that leaning out and building lean muscles. Proteins, again, we've got the animal proteins, that's in meat. There's plenty of protein in certain vegetables. You can also get protein through protein shakes. And when you're looking for a protein shake, again, look for the cleanest. Look for whatever you think by looking at the label looks the cleanest. Also, some protein shakes can be very high in protein, like 30 to 40 grams. You want to keep it around 20 grams because you will find it's easy to overshoot your protein goal when we're tracking, and you don't want a protein shake to be the largest part of your protein for the day. You don't want to get too much protein in a protein shake or a protein bar. So look for the cleanest options that have about 20 grams. Because, and remember this, going over in protein or extra protein in the body is stored as fat. So that's where you see a little bit of this contradiction in the fitness world, where you might hear people saying, consume an abundance of protein. Well, an abundance of any macro is not going to be good. So even, abundance of protein is not great. That can be stored as extra fat. So keep that protein goal down around where MyFitnessPal has for you. And we'll be looking at that as we're putting your food in. You'll see where your protein goal is and how to meet that goal. We mentioned about eliminating or reducing the amount of gluten and dairy products that you are using, and hopefully maybe you started doing that last week. Maybe you gave up some of your regular yogurt, maybe you gave up your regular 2% milk, maybe you're making some swaps and you're switching out to almond milk, or there's even yogurts that are made with other non-dairy products, like there's an almond milk yogurt that's very good. So start looking at getting rid of the dairy and maybe making some swaps there. You might already, if you have been doing that, you might be feeling less bloated, and that would be a great way to know that that's working, getting rid of the gluten and the dairy. And raw dairy in and of itself is not the issue. Same with gluten. It's the process that product goes through from coming from the cow to actually coming to the store, and what the manipulation of these products. That's the problem, and that's where the preservatives and the things that come in that are not good for us. Okay, so you can always swap out almond milk for a creamer in your coffee. It can be done. I know those are tough things, but it can be done, and you'll be fine and you'll get used to it. All right. In your MyFitnessPal app, as you're getting ready to look at that, I want you to think about your percentages and we will look at setting those in your MyFitnessPal. But we are going to consume, of all of our macros, we're going to consume 45% is going to come from carbs, 25% of your whole day's macros is going to be protein, and 30% is going to be fat. And there will be a place in MyFitnessPal for you to set those percentages: 45% carbs, 25% protein, 30% fat. That is what our day is going to look like Wednesday through Sunday. Now, we'll come back and look at what's our day going to look like on Monday and Tuesday, which that will be in carb cycling. But Wednesday through Sunday, those are going to be your macros splits: 45% carb, 25% protein, 30% fat. You're going to find that this is a lot of food. That is one thing I hear often from people, is this is a lot more food than I was eating before. How am I going to eat all this food? I want you to eat until you're 80% full, not stuffed. I don't want you to be completely full toward the end of your eating window and you're short on carbs and you're going to just eat a sweet potato just to get the macros. No. If you are full, stop. So eat till 80% full and stop. Workouts. I hope that you all in prep week tried some of the workouts. Now it's time. We're kind of moving ahead. I want that momentum to continue, not only with our food tracking this week, but I want that momentum to continue with our workouts. I want you to be lifting heavy and pushing yourself and not trying to skip out on anything. I want you to do what you're able to do and then try to push yourself a little bit more as you feel like you can. Of course, not pushing yourself to injury, but if you can lift a little bit of heavier weight, pick up a little heavier weight. It's only going to help you in this process of fat burning and building that lean muscle and changing that body composition, which I know is what we're all here for and we're all ready to see happen. So you will be finding out as you're learning more about our food cycle that we do certain workouts on certain days of the week. We do certain workouts on our low carb days and certain workouts on our high carb days. It all fits the strategy of burning fat, and we'll be learning more about that in the carb cycling week. Any questions that you have about macros, you can drop them to this video. And again, I will be getting you set up with a link to work on MyFitnessPal, and then I'll be coming back on here live to go over more specifically MyFitnessPal, so we get that nailed down and that you feel good about that app and how to enter your information in that app. So I'll be seeing you for that this week.